Your heart already knows. Archangel Michael says, the truth has been sitting in your soul. Now it must be spoken. My beloved child, this message didn't just arrive. It was carved into your soul long before you were born. At an easy feeling in your heart lately, it's not confusion. It's memory returning. You've been sensing something, haven't you? A strange pull. As if something invisible is calling your name from the edge of your spirit. That's not imagination, that's truth trying to come out after being buried for years. A sacred truth was locked inside you the moment you began to feel unloved by the world. But heaven never forgot. Archangel Michael never stopped watching. This isn't just a message. This is the key to your silence. The silence that's been protecting you and also punishing you. What happened in your past wasn't your fault. But what happens next is entirely your responsibility. Because this time the universe won't wait for your permission. You've been hearing whispers in your dreams. Moments where everything stops and you feel like time freezes. As the divine trying to get your attention because the truth is about to break through. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You are remembering. And what you are remembering is what will set you free. This truth will shatter everything false around you. Friendships that were fake, love that was manipulative, voices that never wanted you to rise. All of it will crumble the moment you embrace what your soul already knows. Archangel Michael says, the reason your heart aches is because it's full of truths you were never allowed to speak. But today, you are being permitted. In fact, you are being commanded to speak it loud without fear. Your silence made others comfortable, but it destroyed your inner world. But that ends here. The truth inside you is not small. It's not gentle. It is thunder waiting for your voice. This is not just a message. It's a reckoning. The person you were pretending to be must disappear because the real you is returning with a sacred force that no one can handle unless they were chosen to witness it. They lied to you. They said you were too sensitive. They said you were overreacting. They laughed at your instincts, but those instincts were the warnings of angels. You felt it when they were fake. You noticed the shift in their energy. And every time you said nothing, a part of your soul went silent. But not anymore. Not today. Heaven has waited long enough. Your spirit is done watching. People mock your softness only to copy your strength in secret. They didn't want your light. They wanted to own it. But they can't anymore. You were born to disrupt the pattern. You were not meant to follow silence like a rule. You were meant to interrupt the lies like thunder splits the sky. You've been asking why people distance themselves from you after they get close. It's because the truth in you activates something uncomfortable in those who live in deception. I didn't leave because you were too much. I left because your spirit reminded them of what they refused to face in themselves. And Archangel Michael says, this is your power. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be remembered. And the truth you carry will make sure of that. Your timeline is being rewritten. The pain you went through is not wasted. It's evidence that you survived silence long enough to finally break it. You will speak now, not for revenge, but for release, for peace, but for sacred justice, the kind only heaven can supervise. This message is sacred. Your ears were meant to hear it at this exact moment. Because after this, there is no going back to pretending. There is no going back to pleasing. The old you, the one who shrank to fit into other people's comfort zones, is being erased. The new you, the one who speaks truth without apology, is rising. Don't you feel it? A shift in your chest. The tightness that's now becoming fire. That is your truth waking up, my beloved child. And from this moment, you will stop explaining your worth. You will stop shrinking to keep others happy. You will no longer ask for permission to be who you were divinely designed to be. You are here to disturb what's false, to activate what's sacred, and to awaken what's divine in yourself and others. This isn't just motivation. This is prophecy, and your name was written in the scrolls of this moment long ago. Stay till the end. Part 2 is about to reveal what secret was hidden inside your heart since birth. There was something you were never told. Not because they forgot, but because they knew that once you discovered it, you'd never allow them to control your light again. This hidden truth was placed in the corner of your memory, protected by the divine until now. Archangel Michael says, your soul has been rehearsing this moment for lifetimes. The moment when you stop lying to yourself just to keep the illusion going. The moment you feel your skin no longer fits the version of you that others designed. You were not made to live halfway. You were not made to smile through betrayal or accept crumbs when you were born of divine royalty. You were meant to rise with clarity. And now the veil is being pulled back. Someone close to you knew your power early on. They recognized your eyes carried more than innocence. They carried prophecy, and this scared them because they saw their own falsehood begin to shake every time you looked directly at them. They tried to quiet you not just with words but with patterns, rejection, abandonment, doubt. Because the moment you accepted your own truth, their entire illusion would collapse. But you didn't break. Even when they left, even when the one you trusted the most shifted in silence and blamed you for the storm, even then your spirit held on. That's what makes you chosen. Not perfection, but the refusal to disappear. You endured because something inside you whispered, there is more. This is not the end. And now that whisper has become a roar. That feeling, you can't explain. That heaviness in your chest that won't go away. It's the pressure of unsaid truth trying to escape through your breath. Archangel Michael says the time of silence is over. You are not the same person they once underestimated. You are the fire they pretended they could handle, but now they'll feel the heat of your voice. No one knows what it took for you to get here. The nights you cried alone. The days you faked being fine. The moments you swallowed your pain so others could stay comfortable, but heaven saw it all. You weren't healing slowly. You were charging silently. And now you're stepping into the version of yourself that will no longer negotiate your value. Some of the people you loved most were never supposed to stay. They were placed in your life as mirrors, not soulmates. They reflected your wounds until you finally saw them for what they were. Lessons. Don't chase closure from someone who benefited from your confusion. Don't explain your evolution to someone committed to misunderstanding your spirit. The most dangerous lie they told you was that your intuition was wrong. That what you felt wasn't real. That you were too emotional, too intense, too much. What they knew the truth. And it terrified them. Because your energy cannot lie. You saw through smiles. You felt betrayals before they happened. You sensed when someone's words didn't match their frequency. And now the universe is rewarding your honesty with clarity. Archangel Michael says, your divine timeline has just been activated. From this moment forward, your life will begin to realign with your original design. Everything that was taken without permission, joy, dignity, love will be returned multiplied. You will begin to feel things differently. What used to break you will now pass through you. What used to confuse you will now be exposed in seconds. What used to trigger you will now empower you. People from your past may try to return. But you will notice something. Your spirit doesn't react the same way anymore because growth has changed your taste for toxicity. They'll say you've changed and you have, but only because you've returned to who you were before the world taught you to hide, and you don't need revenge. Your presence is already a reminder that they couldn't break you. That their attempt to dim your light only taught you how to shine louder. And now listen carefully. Your heart already knows who you need to release. Who you need to forgive, who you need to walk away from. It knows you've just been too loyal to your history. But the future that's calling you won't allow any delays. What's ahead of you is sacred. It is waiting for the version of you that walks in full truth, not half-truths wrapped in blindness. You are not difficult. You are divine. You are not dramatic. You are discerning. You are not unstable. You are unlocking. And as you begin to speak what your soul has always wanted to say, you will feel heaven respond. Opportunities will come. Closure will find you. Peace will visit you without warning because finally you are aligned. You are saying yes to yourself without shame. And the universe always honors those who choose authenticity over acceptance. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them twist your story. Truth needs no defense. The heck is louder than lies ever could. Archangel Michael says, speak. Speak even if your voice shakes. Speak even if your hands tremble. Speak because silence is no longer an option. Speak because the truth inside you is not just yours. It belongs to the people who are silently watching, waiting for permission to speak their own. You are not just freeing yourself. You are unlocking others through your courage. Something huge is waiting for you. The silence has already begun to collapse. The people who once mistook your kindness for weakness are feeling a shift they can't explain. It's not their guilt. It's your energy detaching. You finally stopped carrying what was never yours. You were never meant to walk around with other people's shame in your soul. The tears you cried weren't even always yours. You were absorbing their chaos, their disappointment, their fear, and calling it your own pain. But now your spirit is clearing the fog. Now you're seeing that what you carried was generational, and it ends with you. You may feel alone lately, but don't confuse loneliness with elevation. Sometimes isolation is heaven's way of clearing the room before your blessing arrives. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. Archangel Michael says, there is something important that your heart has always protected. A truth so raw, so pure, it had to be hidden from people who only knew how to destroy beautiful things. But now, a truth is ready to breathe. This is the moment everything changes. Not outside, but inside. Your decisions will no longer come from fear. They will come from knowing. You'll stop explaining your journey to people who haven't even begun theirs. You'll stop apologizing for outgrowing places that only loved your silence. And you'll stop waiting for people to understand your vision when they can't even see their own reflection clearly. The weight that's been pressing on your chest wasn't weakness. It was wisdom trying to speak. The anxiety was a resistance between your truth and your environment. And now that you're aligned, the heaviness will begin to lift. There is a memory you buried deep inside you. It still lives in the corners of your mind. The place where your voice trembled, where your eyes silently begged someone to protect you. But no one came. That moment was not your fault. That silence was not your shame. Archangel Michael says that pain was not your punishment. It was your awakening. You didn't deserve what happened. But you do deserve what's coming. And what's coming is your sacred compensation. You will be rewarded for what you carrying quietly. You will be seen for what you endured privately. They mock your softness, but your softness was the shield. It kept you human in a world that worships numbness. And now your sensitivity will become your superpower. The people who once called you too emotional will come back with questions they hope you will still answer. But you're not their healer anymore. You're not their rescue plan. You're not their emotional shelter. You are the voice that finally speaks, the soul that finally sings, the light that no longer dims. And now you must listen to this carefully because the divine is about to give you something. A blessing that has your name written in golden fire. But you must protect it. Not everyone who claps for you is clapping from love. Some clap to count your footsteps, not to celebrate your journey. Archangel Michael says, move in silence. Speak only when it's time to declare, not to fan. Let your energy enter rooms before your voice ever does. Let your truth rise like sunlight, unapologetic. Unstoppable, undeniable. You spent enough time pretending to be okay just to keep the peace. But peace is not real if it costs you your own voice. The truth you hold is not a burden. It's your weapon, your medicine, your crown. There will be people who try to minimize your transformation. They'll pretend not to see how far you've come. That's okay. You're not living for recognition. You're living for release. Every version of you that had to die to reach this one deserves your respect. Those old versions, they cried for you to survive. They made decisions out of survival. And now you get to make decisions out of freedom. You'll begin to feel yourself glowing in ways that shock you. You'll laugh again, not just with your mouth, but with your whole soul. You'll attract love that doesn't ask you to shrink or perform. You'll attract opportunities that require your real self, not your mask. The past few weeks, something has been pushing you to break patterns. That's not coincidence. That's divine preparation. You are being aligned for encounters, miracles, and clarity that you were once too tired to receive, and yes, it's okay to grieve the version of you that thought chaos was normal. It's okay to cry for the younger you who thought silence was survival. But now it's time to celebrate the you who finally said, no more. You are no longer afraid to have outgrow. You are no longer afraid to walk alone. You are no longer afraid to walk away. You are no longer afraid to be seen. Archangel Michael says, you are becoming, not something new, but something eternal that you've always been. You are not chasing purpose. You are remembering it. This is your permission. To take up space, to speak with fire, to walk into rooms like the miracle you are. You were never too much. You were just too real for a world addicted to pretending. Let them talk. Let them assume. Your path isn't about proving anything. It's about living everything you were divinely assigned to carry. And if you're wondering if you're ready, yes, you are. You always were. You just needed to remember. Stay till the end. You're about to hear what was blocked from your destiny until this very moment. There's a reason your spirit had been feeling restless lately. It's because something that was once locked is now opening. A spiritual door that has your name carved into it is slowly creaking, letting in light you forgot existed. You've been walking through life with your eyes half closed. But now your soul is demanding full vision. You are not just awakening. You are remembering. You are remembering that before the disappointments, before the heartbreak, before the betrayal, you were whole. You were powerful. You were chosen. And that truth didn't disappear. It simply waited for you to return to it. There were people who tried to dim your fire because they couldn't handle your glow. They smiled in your face, but secretly feared what would happen if you ever discovered your full strength. So, they whispered doubts, planted fear, and used love as control. But that spell is broken now. Archangel Michael says, your spirit has passed the test. You didn't even realize you were walking through a spiritual battlefield. But you kept moving even while bleeding. You smiled with wounds. You served others while starving for peace. And now heaven is rising to meet your resilience. It's not just your time, it's your turn. The angels are not coming to ask you to wait anymore. They are coming with divine documents. Paperwork from the higher realms authorizing your release, your blessing, your rise. And hear this clearly. Your name have been written in divine ink. No man can erase it. No gossip can taint it. No delay can block it. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared. You will start to notice synchronicities, repeating numbers, people reaching out from your past with shaking hands and unsure voices. Some will ask for forgiveness. Others will pretend nothing happened. But your spirit will already know who is genuine and who is not. Because now your discernment is sharper than ever. You no longer second guess what you feel. You no longer excuse dishonesty, you no longer entertain chaos dressed as comfort. You are moving into a season where your no is sacred, where your boundaries are divine armor, where your peace is non-negotiable. And the people who truly love you will understand that your evolution is not a betrayal. It's your birthright. Archangel Michael says you must protect this version of you with everything you have. Because the enemy of truth is not always evil. It is often distraction. Don't let old patterns dressed in new faces distract you from the destiny you're walking into. There is a calling that's about to ring louder. A nudge that will feel like thunder under your skin. You'll feel drawn to certain places, ideas, actions, not because of logic, but because your spirit already knows it's time. And as you begin to follow those nudges, you will feel less afraid. Not because the fear disappears, but because the truth will finally be louder than your fear. That is when miracles start to unfold. You were never waiting on the world to change. The world was waiting for you to step fully into your divine truth. And now it has begun. There will be moments where you want to look back, where nostalgia will try to lure you into old comfort zones. But comfort is not your calling. Growth is truth, is freedom, is don't look back. What's ahead of you is built from sacred promises. What's behind you was built on survival. The people who are meant to rise with you won't be confused by your healing. They will celebrate your clarity. They will match your energy. They will speak your spirit's language fluently. You'll start attracting people who don't drain you. People who don't make you question your worth. People who feel like sunlight and calm rain at the same time. People who bring peace, not chaos. Oldness, not confusion. Archangel Michael says, the relationships that are forming now are divine alignments. Pay attention. These connections aren't accidental. They are assignments from heaven, and they will feel like home without needing explanation. You're going to feel more at ease being alone, not lonely, free. You'll notice how your solitude speaks louder than the noise ever did. You'll begin to love the sound of your own peace. And through that peace, your blessings will begin to land quietly, gently, powerfully. No fther. Oh, announcement, just divine evidence that you shifted from hoping into knowing. You'll start to walk differently. Not arrogantly, but with a knowing that you are protected. That you are backed by angels, that no matter what's thrown at you, your spirit won't shake. Because truth is your anchor now. This is what it feels like to live in alignment, to move without begging, to speak without trembling, to receive without guilt. This is what it means to come home to yourself. Archangel Michael says this was never about proving anything. It was always about remembering everything. You don't need to shout to be seen. You don't need to convince to be chosen. You already are. If this message found you, it's because your truth is no longer willing to wait. Your time has arrived. Your heart already knew. Your soul already agreed. And now heaven has confirmed it. Share this with someone who needs it. Comment below what your heart has been holding. And if your spirit felt this message was for you, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay close, because what's coming next will be the biggest shift you've ever seen. You may feel like something deep inside you is cracking open. But that cracking is not your destruction. It's your becoming. The shell that once protected your truth is breaking because the time has come to live out loud. The weight on your chest is lifting because your spirit is finally allowed to breathe. There is no need to explain yourself anymore. No need to water yourself down to fit into rooms that never deserved you. You are not meant to blend in. You are meant to stand out like a flame in the middle of a frozen world. And now the fire within you is rising. Archangel Michael says, the more you embrace your truth, the more uncomfortable it will become for those still living in disguise. They will question your chain. They will call it rebellion. But it is not rebellion. It is revelation. You're not walking away from people. You're walking back to yourself, at discomfort in your body lately. That urge to move, to clean, to cut ties, to speak out, to cry without warning. It's not chaos. It's your divine self trying to rearrange your reality to match what your soul has already accepted. The truth is, your old life cannot hold your new energy. The walls around you were built for someone who no longer exists. The you that needed validation, the you that kept peace at the expense of your own, the you that forgave people who never asked has expired. You are walking into a season where truth becomes your filter. If it's not real, you won't feel it. If it's not honest, you won't want it. If it's not aligned, it will simply fall away. You no longer have the capacity to hold on to anything that feels forced. And that, beloved, is your liberation. The way people treat you will change without you having to say a word because energy doesn't lie. They will sense your shift. Some will retreat. Some will resent. Some will rise with you. Let them reveal themselves. You don't need to chase or convince anyone. The ones meant for your future won't be intimidated by your truth. They'll be inspired by it. The ones who matter will recognize the version of you they always believed was underneath the surface. Archangel Michael says, your elevation is sacred. Handle it with intention. You've paid for this growth with every tear you cried in silence. You've earned this healing with every moment you resisted going back to what broke you. There is a higher frequency pulling you now. A tug in your spirit. That constant sense that something greater is near. It's not imagination. It's divine timing aligning with your internal yes. This is the season where things you only dreamed about begin to show up physically. Doors that once refused to open will now swing wide without resistance. Emails, calls, confirmations, all arriving like whispers of divine alignment. But with every blessing comes responsibility. Protect your peace like it's gold. Guard your truth like it's treasure because it is. You cannot pour into everyone anymore. You cannot explain your energy to people addicted to misunderstanding you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them talk. You don't need to be understood. You need to be authentic. Your spirit didn't come here to be light. It came here to be remembered. You'll notice how different life feels when you stop betraying yourself just to make things work. You'll begin to breathe easier when you stop shrinking for love that only loved the broken version of you. The healed you, the powerful you, the honest you, that's the one they were never ready for. And you can forgive them, but you don't have to return to them. Some apologies come through actions. Some come through distance. Some never come at all. But forgiveness is for your soul's freedom, not theirs. Archangel Michael says, you're being called into clarity. You will begin to know things before they happen. Feel things before they unfold. Sense danger before it arrives. Not because you're paranoid, but because you're tuned in. You're finally listening to the voice inside you that always knew the way. The truth sitting in your soul had been waiting patiently, it never left. It just waited for you to trust yourself again. And now that you are, everything is shifting. You are not cursed. You are chosen. You are not behind. You are protected. You are not forgotten. You are being divinely watched. The universe hasn't been silent. It's been setting the stage. And now that the curtains are opening, your name will echo through places that once closed their doors on you. You will be honored in the very rooms that once rejected you. Your voice will be needed in spaces where your silence was once demanded. And your presence will bring healing to those who once mocked your pain. You were never ordinary. You were just hidden, protected and preserved. And now you are rising, not as someone new, but as the real you. Finally unleashed. Stay till the end. Something rare is about to be revealed. That was blocked from you until you remembered who you truly are. The breakthrough you've been praying for is no longer far away. It's circling your life like a divine wind, waiting for your spirit to fully accept it. The moment you let go of what was never yours to carry, you make space for what has always belonged to you. And now that space is open, you're not crazy for wanting more. You're not selfish for craving peace that doesn't come with strings attached. You're not wrong for outgrowing places that once felt like home, but now suffocate your voice. This is what truth feels like. It doesn't always feel good, but it always sets you free. You have been chosen not to fit in, but to reveal. And sometimes the cost of revealing is walking alone. But that loneliness you're afraid of, it's temporary. Because the moment you step into the real version of yourself, the universe sends people who don't need you to explain your spirit. They just understand it. Archangel Michael says, you were never meant to walk the path of pretending. You were sent here to interrupt cycles, to break patterns, to expose fake love, and to restore what generations before you were too afraid to heal. The ache in your heart is not weakness. It's evidence that your soul is alive. You were never numb like the others. You felt everything. That's why your healing journey has taken longer, but that's also why your reward will be greater. Every time you held back tears to keep someone else from feeling uncomfortable, the heavens marked it. Every time you kept quiet to avoid conflict, the angels kept record. Now the balance is shifting. Now the scales are tipping. Now divine justice is being released, and the people who once overlooked you, they'll begin to feel your absence in the places where your presence used to heal them. Not because you wish them harm, but because absence is sometimes the loudest truth. There is a message forming in your chest. A truth that's begging to be spoken, not to the world, but to yourself. You need to say out loud what you've been afraid to even think. That you are done carrying guilt. That you are done being silent. That you are done waiting for someone else to make you feel whole. You are already whole. Archangel Michael says your light was never too bright. A room was simply too dim. And now it's time to step out of that room entirely. A new door has opened, not in front of you, but inside you. And everything will begin to change. You'll notice it in the way you wake up with more clarity. You'll feel it in the way your spirit no longer reacts to negativity. You'll sense it when things that used to shake you now pass through you like wind. This is what real alignment feels like. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop trying to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. And you start walking like you belong because you finally believe that you do. Don't worry about what they're saying behind your back. Let them talk. You're not here to play small just so they can feel big. You're here to rise, to walk boldly, to speak softly, but carry the thunder of truth in your presence. You were never meant to fit their expectations. You were born to expand past their limitations. And no matter how many times they tried to shrink your worth, you always rose. Now you will rise louder. The moment you decided to stop running from yourself, everything changed. The noise became quieter. The confusion began to dissolve, and what remained was a voice you had almost forgotten. The voice of your own soul. For the first time in a long time, you didn't need outside confirmation. You finally trusted what your heart was whispering all along. You always knew the truth. Even when others tried to bury it beneath guilt, manipulation, or silence, your spirit kept trying to speak. It showed up in your restlessness, in the way your stomach twisted when something didn't feel right, in the way your energy dropped in certain spaces. It was truth. That was your inner compass screaming for you to listen. Archangel Michael says that nothing was random. The betrayals, the disappointments, the unanswered prayers. They were all sacred initiations, not punishments, not setbacks, but divine interruptions designed to get you back on course because you were never meant to stay lost. They thought your silence was weakness, but it was sacred. It was where you met yourself again. Where you made peace with the parts of you they told you to hate. Where you remembered that your softness wasn't a flaw. It was a divine strategy. Now the truth you've been holding inside is rising like the sun. It can no longer be denied. It will no longer be silenced. It will show up in how you speak, how you walk, how you move through rooms like you belong in every single one. And yes, some people will feel uncomfortable around you. Now that's what happens when you start living as your full self. People who benefited from your confusion will lose access to you. People who thrived on your guilt will feel you slipping away. Not because you've changed, but because you've returned to who you really are. The truth is not always loud. Sometimes it's a quiet knowing that what you tolerated before, you will never tolerate again. That what once broke you, now empowers you. That what used to make you question yourself now confirms your growth. You're not bitter. You're better. You're not angry, you're aligned. You're not cold, you're clear. And clarity is a powerful place to live. You'll begin to speak without trembling. You will say no without explanation. You'll choose peace without guilt. And you will walk away from anything that no longer mirrors your spirit, even if it once felt like everything. Archangel Michael says, this version of you is protected by something stronger than logic. This version of you is guided by divine intelligence. You no longer need all the answers. You just need to stay obedient to the knowing inside you. It may not make sense to everyone. That's okay. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be authentic. And the more authentic you become, the more the right things, people, and opportunities will find you. You were not created to be invisible. You were created to radiate. And now nothing can dim that light. Not rejection, not failure, not fear. You'll start to feel lighter. Not because the weight is gone, but because you stopped carrying what was never yours. The opinions, the expectations, the shame. You've laid it down. And in its place, truth is blooming like a garden that was buried for too long. You are no longer asking, am I worthy? Because now you know the answer. You are. You always were. And now you're showing up like someone who finally believes it. The people who are meant for you will recognize this version of you and celebrate it. They won't try to shrink it. They won't try to compete with it. They'll stand beside it, protect it, honor it. You won't have to fight for space in their life. You won't have to beg to be heard. You'll just be fully, completely, unapologetically. Archangel Michael says that when you speak your truth, you become a mirror for others to do the same. Your courage activates freedom in places you can't even see. Every time you choose alignment over approval, you break another chain. You are not just healing for yourself. You are healing for those who came before you and those who will come after. Your decision to rise will echo through generations. This is more than personal growth. This is spiritual legacy, and heaven is watching it unfold with divine joy. The battles you fought were real. The stars you carry are sacred, and none of it was in vain. Every tear watered the soil of this moment. Every breakum was a gateway to this breakthrough, every silence prepared you to finally speak. Now your voice carries weight. Not because you're louder, but because you're honest, not because you say more, but because what you say is true. You don't need a platform to be powerful. You don't need attention to be divine. You just need to be you fully, fearlessly, truthfully. Everything you lost will be replaced with something real. Everything that broke you will become the reason others heal. Everything that confused you will now begin to make sense, because the truth is no longer sitting silently in your soul. It's speaking through every part of your life. Stay till the end. What comes next is the file unlocking. Your full spiritual release is one step away. What you're feeling right now, the tightness in your chest, the sight trembling in your hands, the tears forming without warning, is your soul recognizing truth as it arrives. Let the kind of truth that shouts, but the kind that whispers with power. You've come full circle, and deep down, you knew this day would come. You don't need anyone to validate your journey. You don't need them to understand how many nights you cried in silence. How many prayers you whispered into pillows, how many times you wanted to give up but didn't. They will never fully know the cost. But heaven knows. Archangel Michael knows. And that's enough. You survived things that should have broken you. Not because you were lucky, but because you were chosen, chosen to rise, chosen to speak, chosen to carry a light that darkness couldn't drown. And now that light is unstoppable. This is your divine emergence. You are no longer hiding. You are no longer doubting. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are walking in divine truth. With your head high, with your heart open and with your spirit anchored in certainty, let them wonder how you're still standing. Let them whisper their confusion. Let them try to understand the glow they never expected to see again. You don't owe anyone an explanation, you owe yourself a life built on truth, not fear. Archangel Michael says, the final unlocking has already begun. What you once thought was a delay was simply divine timing aligning with your soul's maturity. And now every door that was once sealed is opening. Not because you knocked louder, but because your truth finally matched the frequency of the blessing. This is why you had to be patient. This is why things didn't make sense until now. Because only now can you carry the weight of your destiny without dropping pieces of yourself along the way. You are not the same as before. You don't need to revisit the past to prove you've healed. You are living proof. Your silence, your peace, your glow. These are all signs that you've stepped out of the storm and into your power. They'll try to come back. Some out of guilt, others out of curiosity, a few out of jealousy. Let them feel the absence of the version of you they took for granted. Let them witness the beauty of your becoming from a distance. Not every apology deserves a conversation. Not every I miss you requires a reply. Not every open door must be walked through again. Sometimes closure is simply choosing yourself and never looking back. The truth you carry is ancient. It was placed in you long before the world tried to name you. It's the reason you've always felt different. The reason you've always known things without being told. The reason your spirit couldn't settle for shallow living. You are here to break patterns, not repeat them. You are here to awaken generations, not entertain illusions. You are here to live so freely in your truth that others feel permission to do the same. Archangel Michael says, your voice carries codes, not just words, but frequencies that unlock things in others. That's why people feel healed around you. That's why your silence is loud. That's why your truth transforms everything it touches. You'll no longer waste time explaining yourself to those who only listen to argue. You'll no longer sacrifice your truth just to avoid being misunderstood. Your presence is a message. Your energy is a declaration. And your alignment is the announcement that your time has come. Your body knows this. That's why you're feeling lighter. That's why you're sleeping deeper. That's why your spirit feels safer now than ever before. Because your truth has found its voice and nothing can silence it again. This is the beginning of a new reality. The one where you're no longer begging life to see you because you finally see yourself fully, completely, authentically. There is no greater power than someone who knows who they are. No greater strength than someone who is no longer pretending. And no greater miracle than someone who decides to live in their truth, no matter who it upsets. Archangel Michael is smiling. Not because your journey was perfect, but because it was honest. Not because you never failed, but because you never stayed down. And now heaven is rewarding what the world refused to honor. You are a divine unfolding, a sacred force, a spiritual masterpiece. And every breath you take from this moment forward is proof that truth always wins. No more fear and no more guilt, no more drinking. You are free. This was the message your soul was waiting for. If it touched you, leave your light in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to Manifesting Angel so you never miss the truth your heart already knows. You didn't just read this message, you remembered it. Every word echoed something you already knew, but couldn't quite speak. Not until now. Not until your soul gave you full permission to stop hiding. What felt like new truth was really old wisdom returning to the surface. You didn't stumble across this moment. You were led here through every closed door, every delayed prayer, every betrayal you didn't see coming. They weren't detours. They were divine coordinates. Each one guided your heart closer to this alignment where truth no longer hides in the shadows, but stands fully in the light. You are not fragile. You are 5. You are the living proof that resilience doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. You spent years breaking chains with a quiet strength that others couldn't see. But now even the quiet is thundering. Archangel Michael says you've been approved in heaven. And no man, no failure, no rumor, no fear could override that. What God has confirmed in you cannot be cancelled. You don't need their understanding. You already have heaven's signature written across your soul. You're not meant to blend in. You never were. The pain of rejection, one punishment. It was protection. The people who walked away when you needed them most didn't leave you. They left the assignment. They abandoned their role in your story. But the story still continues. Stronger, brighter, freer. And now that you've remembered who you are, you're starting to feel the shift in everything. The way your body responds to energy, the way your spirit withdraws when something doesn't feel aligned, the way peace feels like your new normal. That's not coincidence. That's the result of truth taking root. This is what freedom feels like. Not the absence of struggle, but the presence of alignment. You no longer wake up dreading the day. You no longer tolerate conversations that drain your soul. You no longer explain yourself to those who benefit from your silence. You walk like someone who has nothing to prove and everything to protect. And what you're protecting now isn't just your heart. It's your energy, your peace, your divine assignment. You've seen what happens when you give too much to the wrong people. You've seen what happens when you lower your standards just to feel wanted. Never again. You've risen too far to return to what once kept you small. Archangel Michael says, the truth sitting in your soul is your spiritual compass. Now, you don't need to see the full map. You just need to trust the next step. Each step forward will be met with provision, with support, with divine timing that will feel almost too perfect to be real. But it is real. It's the reward for choosing truth over convenience. For choosing healing over habit, for choosing growth over comfort. That choice has rewritten your future. Whether you realize it yet or not. You'll start to notice people looking at you differently. Some with admiration, others with fear, but none of it matters because you're no longer adjusting your light to make others feel comfortable in their darkness. You shine because it's your birthright, and if it makes them uncomfortable, they can close their eyes. Your presence now is powerful. It speaks before you do. It enters rooms with clarity. It interrupts confusion without you having to raise your voice. That's what alignment does. It makes your silence louder than their noise. You're not here to convince anyone anymore. You're here to create, to heal, to inspire, to walk in truth so boldly that others begin questioning the lies they've been living under. Archangel Michael says, your season of waiting is over. Your spirit has graduated from survival into creation. You're not just healing. You're building now. You're not just waking up. You're rising up. The energy around you is shifted completely. Doors will open without knocking. Conversations will start without reaching. Ideas will flow without force. Because when you're in truth, everything flows. You stop chasing what's already yours. You stop proving what's already been decided. You are divine order wrapped in human form. You are sacred energy walking in a world still learning how to recognize real light. And because of that, your journey won't always make sense to others. Let it be. You're not here to make sense. You're here to make impact. They'll ask you what changed. You will smile because how can you explain that your entire being recalibrated? That you no longer carry shame in your chest or guilt in your bones. That you finally realized your worth wasn't up for debate. Let them wonder. Let your peace be the loudest answer. And if at times the world feels heavy again, if the old fears whisper their lies in moments of doubt, pause. Breathe, remember this. Your truth is not something you need to fight for. It's something you live quietly. Will they eternally? Archangel Michael stands with you now. Not behind, not ahead, but beside. Because now you're walking as one who remembers. You're walking as one who speaks without shaking. And the ground beneath your feet recognizes the weight of your becoming. This was never just a message. It was a sacred remembrance. If it unlocked something within you, don't let it fade. Carry it. Speak it and share it. Like, comment. I remember and subscribe to Manifesting Angels so this truth continues to echo in the souls that need it. You are not imagining it. The shifts, the sudden waves of clarity, the way your heart beats louder when you hear something that aligns with your soul. It's all real. Your spirit has been waiting patiently for your mind to catch up. And, now that it has, there's no turning back. You no longer belong to the version of yourself that accepted less. That version of you served its purpose, but it cannot follow you into the next chapter. You've outgrown the lies, the limits, the labels. What once defined you now dissolves in the presence of truth. And the truth has made you unshakable. You're not doing too much. You're finally doing what your soul came here to do. Every step you take now carries divine momentum. You may not see it yet, but your energy is already opening doors in realms beyond the physical. Your alignment is speaking in rooms your name hasn't even entered. Archangel Michael says you are now walking in the authority that was written into your DNA before you even arrived on this earth. Every time you speak truth, the spiritual realm adjusts to support you. Your voice is no longer just a sound. It's a frequency, one that breaks chains and unlocks destinies. You'll start to notice that you no longer need to force anything. Dipple will either land or they will fall away. Opportunities will either flow or fade. If it's not for you, it won't stay. And if it's for you, no force on earth can delay it anymore. There's power in letting go and not clinging to what your soul already knows is done. In not chasing the things that your spirit has outgrown. You don't have to keep proving your worth to people who benefit from your doubt. You're not here to audition. You're here to reign. The universe is not holding back from you. It was holding things for you. Waiting until you were ready. Not perfect, not healed, just ready. Ready to stop hiding, ready to stop settling, ready to stop second-guessing what your heart knows to be sacred. Archangel Michael says, the tears you cried in silence have reached the gates of heaven, and the response has already been sent, but it's not arriving the way you expected. It's coming in sudden clarity in sacred endings, in divine appointments disguised as disruptions. You've been asking for signs, but now, the signs are asking you, are you ready? Are you willing to let go of the story where you were the victim? Are you ready to embrace the version of you that doesn't flinch when blessings come knocking? Because blessings are coming not in small doses, but in waves. So big they'll wash away every lie you ever believe about yourself. But these blessings require space. They cannot fit in a life still cluttered with old attachments. That's why people are leaving. That's why the conversations have changed, that's why you're being pulled towards solitude. It's not isolation. It's preparation. You're being cleansed of everything that diluted your power. You'll find yourself needing less attention, less validation, less explanation. Because the more you live in your truth, the less you need the world's permission to be who you are. Your peace will become your new compass. If it disturbs your spirit, it's not for you. If it drains your energy, it's not part of your path. If it makes you question your worth, it's not divine. And what is divine will feel like alignment. It will feel like coming home. It will feel like exhaling after holding your breath for far too long. Archangel Michael says, you are entering a time of divine reversal. Everything that was stolen, time, love, energy, trust, will be returned in greater measure. Not by people, but by the hand of God. Not as a favor, but as a spiritual law. You don't have to chase restoration, it's already finding you because you chose truth, because you stopped pretending, because you finally said no more. And now that you said it, the universe is echoing your words back into reality. The chains are breaking. The cycles are ending. The blessings are locating you. There's someone watching you right now who is inspired by your strength. They may never tell you, but your courage is waking something up inside them. That's the power of truth. It ripples beyond what you can see. You are not alone on this path. Angels are walking beside you. Ancestors are whispering your name. Heaven is opening doors that have been locked for generations. You are the one they've been waiting for. The one who says it ends with me. No more hiding. No more guilt. No more pretending to be smaller just to make others feel big. You are allowed to rise. You are allowed to shine. You are allowed to be powerful. Soft, wise, and wild all at once. This is your becoming. The shedding of everything that was never truly you. The rising into everything you were always meant to be. It's not too late. It's right on time. And even though the world may not understand it, even though they may try to define you by your past, your future is already sealed. What's ahead of you is glory. What's inside you is eternal. And what's waiting for you is real. Don't skip. Your spirit has one final confirmation to receive. And it's going to change everything you thought you knew about yourself. You are not broken. You are blooming. Every hardship was a chapter, not the whole story. The truth you carry is sacred. And now it's free. Walk boldly into what's next. More fear. And we're thinking, Archangel Michael stands beside you as heaven releases what has always been yours. This is not the end. It's the unveiling. Speak your truth. Live your light and never again apologize for the soul you were born to be. Your heart already knew. Now the world will know too. Type Amen. 70001 if you receive this. Share. Like and subscribe to Manifesting Angel.